met Daniel before, actually. Look at that. So you're clearly not here because of me, but because of Daniel, right?
Has anyone read the books?
Fine. Who has read all books? All 3 of them?
4.
All 4 of them? Wow, I'm
Might
really
wanna
missing
list
that
them
one.
out.
Who has read Key Person of Influence? Oversubscribed? 24 assets? Ah, that's the one you need to
That's
plug,
just,
right?
it's 2 weeks out, yeah.
Good. Perfect. So I met Daniel for the first time in 2013, and it was somewhere in Mermaid Street. There was this big auditorium, loads of people, and I sat there. I just had started my business, and we were running our club nights in a really dingy pub in Kentish Town. And I saw him on stage, and I was like, one day, you get him to Pony Express. And yay, the day has come. Clearly, the stinky pub in Kentish Town wasn't suitable, but we moved away from there. Now we're here. Yes, air conditioning is on even as well. That's right. And he has written 4 books. My God, thank you for educating me. I only knew 3. But he will probably tell you a lot of things you didn't know. So let me hand over to Mr. Daniel Priestley.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for coming out on a really hot day. Has anyone lost a kilo or 2 today? Yeah, it's warm. I grew up on the Sunshine Coast, and it's like this all the time. This is just a normal day, believe it or not. I remember on the Sunshine Coast when it was about 18 degrees, we would all put our jumpers on and talk about how cold it was, and it's funny. I've been in London 11 years now. Thank you very much for having me at the club. If you want to tweet me or get in touch afterwards, you can just tweet me on Twitter. If you want to ask any questions after today, just fire off a little tweet, and we'll have a little Twitter conversation later on. For those of you who don't know me, my day job, I guess, is running an accelerator. We have an entrepreneur accelerator that runs in Australia, Singapore, UK, USA. We're in 7 cities around the world. We have about 3,000 companies that are going through different programs with us as they go through the entrepreneur journey. We help entrepreneurs to stand out and scale up. So we've been doing that since 2010. My background is personally as an entrepreneur. In my 20s, I built a business that went from 0 to $1 million in its first year, and then 1 to 10 million in the next 2 to 3 years. So I went through that really fast growth, building a $10 million business by age 25 kind of weird thing that people do. And then got out of that and went and started this accelerator. So we accelerate the rising stars of business. We're considered by Entrepreneur Magazine as one of the top growth accelerators in the world. And we do run a lot of big events. So we have big events that we've just done a big 5-city tour around the world at the moment. You can't really see it. So we do a lot of that sort of stuff. My background obviously is also booking lots of speakers. So I have a whole background with a business called Triumphant Events, where we booked hundreds of different speakers all around the world. And actually that's what led me to write the book Key Person of Influence, because one of the things I discovered is that organizations like mine, the Triumphant Events one, we didn't book speakers, we booked key people of influence who could speak. So it was about developing both the ability to speak and being a key person of influence. So that's a little bit about me. I've written the books, the first 3, Key Person of Influence, oversubscribed. I'm going to talk a bit about that tonight. Entrepreneur Revolution is very much that startup book. And then the one that came out 2 weeks ago is 24 Assets, which is about very much the scale-up journey. So when you've hit about 10 people and you want to grow up to about 50 people, there's going to have to be some assets that you put into the business that allow you to grow and scale. So they're the 4 books, and they actually form a chain as to how you grow a business. So Entrepreneur Revolution is the first one, then Key Person, then oversubscribed, then 24 Assets. So that's a little bit about me. So let me share a story when I was just getting started. One of the people that we booked as a speaker was one of the top stock market traders in Australia, had worked for ANZ Bank, had traded billions and billions of dollars. And while we were getting ready for this talk where he's going to address all these people, these investor community, he says to me, "Daniel, do you know why stocks go up in value?" And I went, good business plan, good product, good CEO, all of those kind of things must help. And he said, no, stocks go up in value for one reason only: there's more buyers than sellers. And when there's more buyers than sellers for that stock, then the stock price goes up until it equalizes, and then it goes flat. And then when there's more sellers than buyers, it goes down. And it's actually as simple as that. And I sort of thought about it and thought, okay, that's interesting that it was just so simple that it's more buyers than sellers, more sellers than buyers. That idea sort of germinated in my head for a long time, and I actually wrote a book which was for the entrepreneur community called Oversubscribed, and it's actually the same philosophy that great businesses do really well when they get oversubscribed, when there's more buyers than sellers. Great speakers earn a lot of money when there's more buyers than sellers. So if you could potentially speak 200 engagements a year, if there's 500 people who wish they could book you as a speaking engagement, then the price goes up. So this idea that you have to get yourself oversubscribed is one of the interesting first principles of business. So I love those kind of first principles. So if you're in a situation where there's 100 people who want what you've got and only capacity to deliver to 10 of them, the price is going to go up because you're oversubscribed. And people will actually tolerate this thing called profit. So when when there's 100 people who want it and only 10 who can get it, people just pay the price and they tolerate the profit. So in this kind of coffee shop with all the people queuing up out the front, they might charge £3.50 for the cup of coffee, and someone says, oh, that's a bit expensive, and they say, that's okay, you can go somewhere else, because there's that queue up of people. The opposite is true. So being undersubscribed causes losses to be tolerated by the business owner. So if you have 10 people who are buying and you have capacity to go out there and look after 100 people, you start lowering your price and you start tolerating losses and all that sort of stuff. So in this coffee shop where it's all empty, they're paying that rental on the space, they're losing money every single month, they've got staff standing around not doing anything, so they start thinking, well, we better drop the price of the coffee from £3, £2.50, £2, £1.50 until such time as the coffee shop starts to fill up. So it's this, very basic principles, but it's similar to speaking and all those kind of things. And when you have it in balance, wages get tolerated. So whatever a coffee shop owner should earn, let's say call it £30,000 a year as a coffee shop manager's wage. If you have a normal coffee shop that's about, there's no one queuing up out the front, but there's no empty seats in the coffee shop, then you end up making about what a coffee shop manager should earn on the whole. So these are very, very simple first principles. So one of the first questions you want to ask yourself as a speaker is what are you going to set your capacity at? How many talks are you going to do per year? Because if you don't know that number, you don't know when you're oversubscribed or when you're not oversubscribed. So are you going to speak every single day and you've got 200 days of speaking that you want to oversubscribe, or are you going to do 12 talks, one a month, and you're going to tell people I only do 12 talks, I only do one talk a month, in which case you become oversubscribed a lot quicker. So what's going to be your capacity number is a key question. Now most people don't get anywhere near their capacity number. Most people are not oversubscribed. They're a bit of a ghost town going on, and there's 4 reasons for that. The first reason is you're not all that awesome. So I'll talk about that one. The second reason is you're not known, liked, and trusted. So you are awesome, but not enough people know how awesome you are. Not enough people like you or trust you enough in order to do business with you. The third one is you're not using technology very effectively to get a wider reach. And the fourth one is you're not creating any urgency to act. So these I've found to be the big 4 reasons that people don't get themselves into a position of being oversubscribed. So the first one is, the answer is be more awesome. So this is a very simple way to address the first problem. So let's talk about how you be more awesome. The first thing to know is that there is no such thing as a marketplace. So we love to, as marketers, think of a big marketplace of people out there. So there's a marketplace of people who want to book a speaker, or there's a marketplace of people who want to buy fashion, or there's a marketplace of people who want to buy coffee. And in reality, there's no such thing as a marketplace. There's only individuals. So there are people who are going around their day, thinking their thoughts, getting inspired to do certain things. They have problems that they want to solve. And they're complete and utter individuals, and we need to treat people like individuals. We've not got to stop treating people like they're part of a market. Start thinking of people as individuals. The reason somebody might buy a particular product might be vastly different to someone else who's buying that exact same product. Even something as simple as going in and buying a coffee, someone might be feeling a little sleepy and want a little pick-me-up. Someone might want to impress their friend and turn up with their coffee. Someone else might be buying it because they don't want to have don't want to appear to, they're just trying to kill some time. Who knows? But the reasons are different. So we need to get inside people's heads. The first thing you need to know is that people are walking around in a very bored existence, and they're looking for something awesome. So we have this little something awesome filter going on in our head, and we're actually looking for something to show up that's exciting and interesting and dynamic, and that's what we're looking to trigger. Most of people's life is very same. So we just go around our day and we see the same thing, and we travel on the same tube and go to the same place to work and watch the same Netflix and all of that sort of stuff. So we're going through life with just so much sameness, and we're just craving something to be different, something to be awesome, something to be interesting. So one of the first things that has to happen with your business is it has to show up as being interesting and different and exciting and unique and special. And most people are just not doing that. So a lot of the time you're actually sitting on a lot of untapped awesomeness. So I'll give you an example. This is a friend of mine, JP, who we were texting today. And JP, when I first met JP, today he's an author, he travels around the world speaking. He's making a lot of money. And that wasn't the case when I first met him. So when I very first met him, he said, I would say to him, tell me, what do you do? And he gave me his pitch. And his pitch was, I'm a fitness trainer, I get people to lose weight or put on muscle, I work in a gym near Bank Tube Station, I'm 45 pounds an hour, but I'm less if you buy 15 sessions up front. So that was JP's pitch. So how does that strike you as you on your awesome radar? Is that awesome? No, it's not very awesome, right? So one of the first things we did is we actually explored JP's success stories and his case studies. And I asked him the question, tell me about someone whose life you changed. Tell me about someone who you got a really unbelievable result for them. Someone who, it's quite transformational, the work that you did. And he told me about this particular guy who was elevated to a senior leadership position in a big company, earning absolutely mega bucks, and had put on a lot of weight doing business over food and alcohol, and was traveling between London and Hong Kong almost every single week, and had ballooned in weight and had lost confidence and was feeling really terrible about that, and then hired JP as his fitness trainer. JP had really gone above and beyond, got on Skype, done workouts over Skype while he was in Hong Kong at all hours of the day and night, had contacted the restaurant and told them in advance what the guy was going to order and not to give him anything, not to give him a menu so he could see all the nice things on the menu. It was just going to be the chicken salad. And he had organised with the hotel for the breakfast to come, and it was just an omelette, no toast, and all these kind of things. So JP had gone above and beyond to make it possible for this high flyer to get taken care of at a level where he got into the best physical shape of his life. So we actually used that as a bit of a base plate for creating more awesome. So when we rewrote the pitch, we said, his new pitch, I'm an author, athlete, and fitness trainer. I run, because we got him to write a book, I run a fitness concierge service that works exclusively with men who earn over £200,000 a year and are gold frequent flyers on their airline. We get our clients into the best shape of their life despite the jet-set lifestyle. At £1,500 a month, we're cheaper than an office junior, but we do more to change your life than anyone on your team. Right? Now, is that pretty awesome? Yeah. Right? It's a bit different, right? So straight away, what happened was JP immediately moved out of the market of people who were looking for £45 an hour personal trainers, people who were looking for a discount if they bought 15 sessions up front, and he moved into a market of people who were happy to pay £1,500 a month for a really superior service. He didn't need very many. In fact, his client list, he lost 2/3 of the number of clients to work with, but his revenues jumped dramatically. So he went from about £70,000 a year in total revenues to close to £180,000 a year by doing this sort of stuff. So straight away, just by getting focused on something that was actually awesome, he dramatically transformed his business. So my theory here is that you actually have a lot more to offer. JP's initial offer was personal training. So I'll turn up at the gym when you turn up and we'll train together, basically. His new offer wasn't just a new pitch, it involved a cardio trainer, or where it evolved to was a cardio trainer, a weights trainer, a nutritionist, a life coach, a photographer, an image consultant, workshops, books and podcasts, all packaged into one thing. So actually the offer became awesome as well. So it was a lot more than just hours and selling his time for money. So he repackaged himself as awesome. Now the thing I'll tell you is everything that we went into the new high value offer, he already had lying around. It was already stuff he knew how to do. It was already, he already had the capability to do it. If anything, the thing that prevented him from doing the awesome stuff was taking on all the really low value stuff. And by focusing on doing really high value work, it was transformational. So there's a little example based on being more awesome. So I want you to just quickly think, how could you be more awesome? What have you got lying around that would allow you to package up more value for someone who's willing to pay for it? Have a 30-second chat with the person next to you about what you could do to be more awesome. So who came up with a little idea as to how to be more awesome? Yes. Yeah, what was your one? No. Yeah, we're throwing you right on it. What was your idea? Come on. All right, it's in stealth mode at the moment. What about yourself behind you?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I'm very much on a similar level. I'm a personal trainer, but I don't want to put myself in that sort of box because it's it's a niche that's fairly it's a saturated market for one reason. But when I look at what I do, and I've been looking at with my coach recently, it's not just about weight loss or those sorts of things. It's like the whole package that you're offering people, and actually it's a complete life transformation. My clients' testimonials are like, "You've changed my life." So what you're talking about there was really fascinating because it's now me about looking at actually who do I want to work with, rather than just working with anyone that's going to pay me money. It's like who's going to get the best results from me working with them. And I redid my avatar this morning, and it's basically entrepreneurs who are performing on a good level, but their business is running great, but they're neglecting themselves. They're exhausted when they wake up. They're probably a little bit overweight. They're tired, and you take your business from running a business like that to running your business with what I can do with you, game changer.
Yeah.
So it was lovely to see that written out, and it's such a dramatic difference between the two types. So.
Very cool. Really great. So much in what you said. Absolutely. Anyone else got any questions, thoughts, comments that you got from that thinking that way? Yeah.
In terms of marketing yourself to those people who are high earners and stuff, and because I'm in the private sector of life coaching as well, it's all relationship related.
Yeah.
And because it's such a private thing for people, they would not be talking about it out loud and so on. And I would not go to corporates and just say, okay, maybe your life is bad with your life or whatever. So I'm struggling with that particularly. I don't know how to package myself.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the first things is creating the package and creating the avatar and all those sorts of things. As soon as you know what you're looking for, it's phenomenal how fast those people appear. So when you're being general, the whole market, the whole population looks very general. As soon as you, I don't know if you've had the experience, I just bought a brand new car before, like a week ago, and it's like I hadn't noticed these cars on the road, and then everyone's got this damn car. So you just end up spotting them in the exact same color with the same specs, and it's like, wow, there's one everywhere. So as soon as you get very focused about who your market is, you suddenly go, oh, wait a second, on LinkedIn I know 14 of those kind of people, and they know 14 others like that, and actually I only need 12 to have a really successful business. So you begin to do that. Yeah.
Hi, I once said to a friend, I said, well, what will make me any different as a coach than anybody else? And she said, well, no two violinists are the same, Rachel, playing the same instrument. And I just spoke to Alex here, and I realised that the things that you were talking about were all personal kind of things that I brought to my clients previously.
Yeah.
So it was the things that I did as me.
Yeah.
I attended interviews with them, I brought them along to
Yes.
the board, exactly what you're saying, JP, because that was me bringing me to the picture.
Exactly, and that's that idea that there's not a market, there's individuals, and you treated them as individuals and you connected. So this actually is a perfect segue to this next piece, which is there's no market, there's just individuals. You need to show up as awesome, and then you need to become known, liked, and trusted to more people. So going back to our idea that there's just people, and every person's got an individual brain, their own hierarchy of values, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations, their fears, all of that's going on inside their head. One of the things that happens inside the brain is there is a system which is called the do I know you, like you, and trust you system. And the system is actually pretty primitive. So it goes back to tribal times of, is this person in my tribe, or is this person someone who I don't know and they're potentially a bit scary and I'm not quite sure whether I can trust them yet? And the know, like, and trust system is actually when you research it, it's called the 7-11-4 system. And it actually comes down to, have I spent 7 hours with you, which makes me feel safe that you're probably not going to hurt me if you haven't hurt me in the first 7 hours. Have we interacted about 11 times? Have I been with you in 4 separate locations? Now, Google actually did this research, and the way they did it is they identified people who had made a purchase. So let's say they'd bought a motorbike or a watch or taken out some insurance or a credit card. And then what they did is they actually reverse engineered, looking at their Google history, what they'd been searching, where they'd been on the web, what videos they'd looked at, what blogs they'd looked at, and all this sort of stuff. And on average, they discovered that before someone buys something, they gorge on 11 pieces of content for about 7 hours in total. And they go across at least 4 different separate platforms or types of media. So I'll give you an example here. My good friend Glenn, he saw this watch called the Dark Side of the Moon watch. It was an Omega watch, and it was 7,900 pounds, and it's this stupid watch, right? And he was like, wow, I love the watch. I really want to buy this watch. So he goes online and he tries it on in the store, and he doesn't buy it in the store, but he tries it on and he's like, okay, this is pretty cool. He thinks, I'm going to go online and I'm going to gorge on content. I'm just going to absorb this content. And he goes on and he starts searching, and all he can find is one 30-second video that has the watch kind of rotating with no sound or anything, and that's it. And he's like, oh, but I want to read a blog and I want to, kind of see what the reviews say. Anyway, as he's looking through the blogs, he comes across this very boutique watchmaker that makes 55 of each particular watch. And there's a reason that it's 55, and it all goes back to a motor race, and there's blogs about it, and there's videos about it, and there's stories and reviews, and everyone loves this particular company. And he starts gorging out on this content about this particular watch. He's never touched it, he's never tried it on, but after about 3 or 4 days of kind of like looking at it on his phone and this, he orders one, and he actually buys this other watch for £4,000. Now, it's interesting that he was ready to spend £7,900 on a silly watch, but couldn't gorge on the content, so he didn't, and he ended up spending £4,000 on a different watch because he could actually access the content and he could fall in love with it. So this is this 7-11-4 concept. So the way people buy stuff is they go on a journey. They look at stuff online and then on their phone, and they might read a book and watch a YouTube video, and then they go back to a different website, they make some notes in their diary, they attend an event, they talk to a friend, they go online, they sit down face to face with someone, and then they buy the thing. And that's the kind of journey people go through when they want to buy stuff. Is anyone like 7-11-4ing something right now? Is anyone 7-11-4ing a handbag, or is anyone 7-11-4ing an iPhone? Right? You're 7-11-4ing a handbag? Yeah. I am. Right? There's this man bag that I kind of like. I'm 7-11-4ing it every now and then. It's like, oh, that's a cool briefcase. I like that one.
I'm completely lost my voice, so I can't really speak, but I teach yoga, so it's quite interesting what you're saying. It's giving me a lot of food for thought.
Cool, really cool. So we go through this journey. Can anyone relate to having 7-11-4'd something before buying it? Yeah. So knowing that this is how people behave, we have to get ourselves in a position, an orchestrated journey, where we actually take people on that journey and we make it okay for them to go on that journey. So recently we took our clients to Tesla Motors HQ, and we got to talk to the senior leadership team about how they orchestrate their journey from discovering the brand at a retail store to buying a £100,000 car that you didn't know existed only a few weeks earlier. And it's actually not an accident. They know that it's about 12 solid interactions before people buy a Tesla. So when they walk into the store, if they ask you, is this the first time you've interacted with a Tesla, they're actually just figuring out where you are on that journey of 12 things. And if it's the first time, all they want to do is keep you in the store for as long as possible, having lots of fun in the car, playing with the touchscreen, custom building one, looking at the colors, right? All of that sort of stuff. And they just want you to play. And what they will then do is they'll ask you if you'd like to do a test drive. They book the test drive a week or 2 weeks away, and they give you lots of content in between. So they encourage you to go on the website, have a look at the different policies, have a look at the video of Elon Musk, have a look at the safety features. There's a whole section called What It's Like to Own a Tesla from Tesla Owners' point of view. and then they get you behind the wheel, and then you've actually had 12 interactions by the time you're there, and now you're starting to think seriously about buying one. So they're very much focused not on selling a car, but on clocking up the interactions. We're pretty good at this as well, and it's been a key strategy for us growing a global business. So we're a fairly big business. We fast growth with 50 people now across Australia, Singapore, UK, USA. But a big part of what we've done is we've built a process where people can gorge out on content if they want to. So we have 60 episodes on our podcast of just interviewing our clients and interesting people that we've met. Each episode goes for 45 minutes to an hour. We see people, listening to 5-6 episodes and then getting in touch with us. We have a YouTube channel with about 300 videos that people can watch, and they watch all the videos. We've got 120 video case studies of our clients talking about what they've done, how they've transformed their business. On average, they get a 500 to 600% growth in under 18 months. So and these are big businesses to start with. It's like crazy stuff. And we've got it all video documented. And then people come along to a big event, and it's a 7 or 8 hour event. If it's 8 hours, there's an hour for lunch. So we actually go and we run the big events. And then we create books that people can read so that they can get in touch and start reading some of those content. So the second question I have for you is, are you content gorge ready? So content gorge ready is really a simple one, which is, if I personally said, I'm going to block out tomorrow and I'm just going to research your business. If there's a podcast, I'll listen to it. If there's a video, I'll watch it. If there's a book, I'll read it. The question is can I clock up 7 or 8 hours tomorrow across a range of different things? Now, if the answer to that is yes, you're content gorge ready. If the answer to that is no, then you actually haven't got the tools available for people to fall in love with what you do. Who here thinks that they are content gorge ready? Yeah, you've getting there? Yep, this was a solid hand up. How many days could I spend?
Well, I've got a website, I've got a very good strong LinkedIn profile, I've got Twitter, I don't do Facebook.
So that's the first 20 minutes.
I like blogs, I know
You write lots of blogs, yep.
2,000 hits every time I write a blog, which for me in my space is good.
Great.
Globally it's good, and people can interact and go,
Video?
No, I haven't got video yet.
Video is very powerful.
I want to do a book, I'm writing a book.
Great, book is really powerful. One of the things I love to share with people is that there is a lot of research that says brains can't tell the difference between what's digital and what's real. So when, like for example, who here has a hero, someone they look up to and they watch all the videos, and someone in their industry who they think of as like a really great thought leader?
Batman.
Right? Batman, right? So the chances are you've never met Batman, you just see him on TV. So who's got one, like an author or something like that? Tony Robbins, for example, right? Louise Hay. Have you met her? You know, right? But you feel an emotional connection because you've listened, you've watched, you've read. So actually your brain doesn't know it's digital. We feel upset when George Michael passes away, not because we knew him personally and had been, in touch with him. It was because we had connected with him through media. So the brain doesn't know the difference between media and real life interactions. So when you're creating a video, let's say you create a 5-minute video, 10-minute video, I sit down and watch the 10-minute video, it's as good as me sitting down and hearing about what you do. So really powerful stuff. There's another concept here called know, like, and trust transference. That's where someone already likes, and trusts someone, and then the trust they feel for that person gets transferred onto something else. So the number one way that people meet their significant other, their wife, their husband, is still through friends in common. Right? Even in the digital Tinder age, Tinder and all of that stuff is down here 5 and 6%, but 38% is we've got a friend in common. So it's trust transference. In business, we see trust transference when Michael Jordan says this is the particular shoe that you should buy for basketball, or when George Clooney says you should drink the coffee that I drink when I'm sitting at my house in Lake Como. And what happens, right? By the way, does anyone know how old Nespresso is? When did Nespresso start? 1976, right? For 30 years they did absolutely nothing. They signed George Clooney in 2006, and then they launched the George Clooney range, and then they became one of the most powerful coffee brands in the world. But what happened is that we went through a process of knowing George on ER, seeing George's movies, sitting by the pool with George, going to the Oscars with George, right? All the different things that we did with George. So we had 7 hours, 11 touch points, 4 locations with George, and then he transferred all of the George cool onto the brand. Some people still haven't had enough touch points with George, right? I can see what's going on. You're sitting there going, I'll take 8 hours and 12 touch points for George. So we used this when we were growing our business as well. So launching a business, we always made sure that it wasn't for me building my personal brand, I made an effort to get out there and interview some of the most celebrated entrepreneurs and leaders in the space, to host them at events, and to actually, be side by side with them, speaking with them, all those sorts of things. So people who had built multi-billion-dollar businesses and dragons and, the Yo Sushi founder, those sorts of people we had as regulars coming along to the events. So there was a trust transference. Today we deal with a lot of high growth companies, really fast growth companies that are going through, side-splitting growth. And we align ourselves to brands like Tesla. So we have a great relationship with Tesla, where the European leader of Tesla comes along and actually talks us through how they're growing at such speed and how they're keeping up with it. And part of that is us aligning to the types of brands that we know our clients already know, like, and admire. We also use things like awards. So by winning lots of awards, there's a trust transference that if I know the award giver, I then trust who they give the award to, and also media and brands. Featuring on other people's videos, featuring on other people's blogs is a great one. Getting featured in the media. So this is all examples of trust transference. The third one is the use of technology. And this is a really important one, because at the moment, if you're not using media and technology, it's probably the most risky thing you could do, is to not use media and technology. We are living in a world where media and technology is at the heart of every business. I don't care if you're a hair salon, you're also a media and technology hair salon. So you need to really think about, we're in the media and technology business, whatever it is that you do. So technology is easy, right? You just do that, right? So, and then it takes care of itself. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. So we overcomplicate technology. We get all excited by the different technology tools and all that sort of stuff. What it looks like for most of us is that we get super excited by Skypes and PayPals and Facebooks and YouTubes, and we're getting excited by the tools. And imagine for a moment that you walk into a building site and you see them putting up this amazing house, and you look around and you see them using hammers and saws, and you see them using nails, and you see them, with a spirit level, and you think, the key to having a big house is to go out and get all those same tools. If I have the hammer and the nail and the spirit level, then I'm going to end up with this beautiful big house. And in reality, that would never happen. So this is the same as entrepreneurs now, getting super excited by all the tools. What actually builds a business is not tools, it's something else called assets. So assets are the things that your business creates that lives online. So some of our assets is methodologies, booklets, books, infographics, videos, all of those sorts of things are the assets. As soon as you have assets, then the tools spring to life. So when you write a book, you put it on Amazon, and Amazon becomes a useful tool. You do a web blog about it, you run an event about it, you do a Facebook thing about it, you set up all these slide shares and all of that sort of stuff. So the tools become very useful to the degree that you have an asset first. As a general rule, I want you to invest into assets, not tools. So don't get super caught up in the tools, get super caught up in creation of assets. The high quality assets and the tools go really well. The other piece of technology that you must get really familiar with is the human brain and how it works. Human brains love to share remarkable experiences, and companies have gone and spent billions of dollars making it very easy to share whatever's going on in your world. So this technology is one of the biggest pieces of technology you must start to understand. How do you create moments that get shared? How do you create stuff that people want to talk about? The word remarkable literally means that it's worthy of being remarked upon. So it's worthy of sharing. It's something people would click, share, and put on their Facebook feed. If you can create shareable stuff, then that's the holy grail of using this stuff. People go to concerts now not to enjoy the concert, but to live stream it to let their friends know that they're enjoying the concert, or at least they're looking like they're enjoying the concert. So this is the shareable thing. People desperately want to share stuff, so much so that they would prefer to engage in the sharing rather than the enjoying, which is strange. I'll give you a fun example that happened to me. And this is a great example of technology and actually how technology plays out in today's world. So my wife and I were staying in Lake Como at the Tremezzo, and you definitely want to, I'd share that one as a great tip. And we went on the blog to look at all the different restaurants that were around. And we looked at the top 10 restaurants in Lake Como. And up came this little one that says, this is the best pizza in Como. It's garlicky toppings, a crust that's so thin it's hardly there. Some of the best pizza you'll taste anywhere. But it's a few plastic chairs and one pizza chef and one waitress. And we're like, what? And then we looked at it on the map, and you have to go like up a hill and inland and all this sort of stuff. We're like, what? And then we look at these things. It's located in the garden behind their house. It's like, that's weird. It's tricky to find. It's up a steep hill. Right? And we're looking at all these like 248 reviews, people sharing this thing. And so good we went twice. Best pizza in the area. Best pizza in Tremezzo, maybe the world. So we get to this house, we go on a 15-minute walk up a hill, we go to the house, and it's inland, it's not one of the big exciting mansions by the lake. And then you queue up on the driveway because there's just people queuing up, 15, 20 people on the driveway, and sure enough, it's one waitress and one pizza cook, and there's 4 pizzas that you can choose from, that's it. And then in the garden, as you're going down the driveway, there's all the ingredients that they grow, and they have it all out on display, and they show you that, you know, there's the garden, and then there's the couple, and they're both a little bit rude, but the pizza's worth it. Now, here's the thing. The pizza was so damn good that we felt the need to share it, we felt the need to review it, we took photos of it. It's one of the experiences we talk about of Lake Como. But here's the funny thing. All the technology in the world, I want you to imagine that little husband and wife couple there with their pizza shop, they have all of the technology. Imagine they've got all of this stuff, but the pizza's not that great. Would we have ended up there? No damn way. So the funny thing is we get lost in the technology. The truth about that husband and wife is that they don't know anything about that stuff, but they just make sure the pizza is really, really, really good. So one of the things we have to do in order to make the technology work is we have to make sure that the pizza's good. And we have to then create moments that people can share. So if there's any piece of technology I recommend, it's create moments that people can share. When we run events, we have our big photo boards and people share themselves in front of it. We have moments that are shareable moments. All of that sort of stuff happens. We create digital content that has very easy to share. We put blogs, and all the blogs are very easy to share, and people are encouraged to share. So we create stuff with sharing in mind, and that's one of the central ideas of the technology. Technology is super important, but don't ever let the technology get in the way of how hot the pizza is. The final point, and I am going to run over time. You've noticed, right? I'm naughty. How long have I been? Were you counting me down on 30 or 40? 40. Am I at 40 already? Not quite, all right. This one will be a quick one. I got 1 minute. Creating campaigns and promotions. If you want urgency, so many people don't get the sale because they haven't created any urgency. There's no reason to act. And the reason to act has to come down to creating campaigns and promotions. And from now on, I want you to start your year, and you can start this now, but I want you to start your year with a big Sasco planner that you can get at Ryman's, and you have the whole year mapped out ahead of you. In fact, if you go in there now, they'll give you from June to June, or June to July 2018. And what I want you to do is zoom up above that year and map out all your campaigns and promotions in advance for a year at a time. In our office, you'll see 3 years worth of campaigns and promotions running down the wall. So we actually have it all mapped out for 3 years in advance, 18, 19, 20. Now, sometimes we change it, but it creates a psychology when you're mapping out your campaigns 3 years in advance. Now, here's the 3 things you need to have in your campaign plan. You need what's called a baseline, a quarterly campaign, and an annual big message. So the three things is the weekly baseline, which in our office we call LAPS. And LAPS means leads, appointments, presentations, sales. Leads, appointments, presentations, sales. Leads, appointments, presentations, sales. And the typical ratio for LAPS will be 50-10-2 or 50-12-10-2. So 50 leads gets 12 appointments, 10 people show up, 2 sales get made. Now I've worked with so many businesses from the very, very big to the very, very small, and it is phenomenal how when you actually dig deep into their laps, it almost always comes out 50-12-10-2. 50 leads, 12 appointments, 10 presentations, 2 sales. So many times people say, oh, I'm not getting enough sales. And I go, how many laps are you doing? And they go, how often do you do 50-12-10-2? And they go, oh, once a quarter. And I go, and do you get 2 sales a quarter? Yep. I go, great, do it once a month and watch what happens. You'll get 2 sales a month. Do it every day and you'll get 2 sales a day. But it's 50-12-10-2. You can speed it up, you can slow it down. But I'm talking big brands like Apple, big brands like Tesla, 50-12-10-2. So you do your laps. And this baseline is just how frequently you're going to do the laps. So how, in our offices we do 50-12-10-2 every week, and we have that across 7 offices around the world. So 50-12-10-2, every office has to generate 50 leads, 12 appointments, 10 presentations, 2 sales every week. So that's the laps line. The next one is called the quarterly campaign, and every quarter you're going to run a campaign that will generate an uplift. Maybe it will be a campaign where you run a 100-person event, or you run a webinar series, or you do a Facebook promotional group that's a pop-up group, but you're going to do something each quarter that's going to be big and exciting, that's going to be a reason to engage, and that's going to create the urgency on top. My first business was just quarterly campaigns, and we didn't do the laps, and it created cash flow spikes and then troughs. So it was like, woohoo, we're awesome. Oh, we're going to die. Oh, we're awesome. My second business, I just had laps and no quarterly campaigns, and it was the dullest, most boring thing, and it was really kind of like there just wasn't any energy. And then when you stick laps on top of quarterly campaigns on top of the laps, then you get the double effect, and that creates the urgency. And then the final thing, which is the icing on the cake, is to have an annual big message. And the annual big message is the big, exciting, bigger than making money, what you really care about, what you're really passionate about, and you're going to bang on about that all year, and you're going to put out some blogs about it, some articles about it, a report, a white paper, a book. You're going to get out there and evangelize that big message. It could be a particular charitable partnership, it could be a piece of thought leadership that you're going to create. It's going to be so far above and beyond making money, but it's a big idea that you want to evangelize. So weekly laps, quarterly campaigns, annual big messages, that's what your year needs to look like, and you need to map it out on that chart. And then finally, when you're engaging with people, when you're meeting with people after they've done 7, 11, 4 and all of that sort of stuff, this is a key diagram that I want you to take note of. This is called a chit chat, and this is called a sales presentation. Chit chat, sales presentation. Chit chat, sales presentation. Easy to mix up the two, right? Sales presentations have got brochures, they've got diagrams, they've got sign-up forms, they've got terms and conditions. Chit chat has coffee and cakes and laughter and giggles and kittens and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, it's so easy to accidentally have chit-chat rather than having a sales conversation, right? And you've got to make sure that if you're having chit-chats, don't expect sales. Sales happen from sales conversations and presentations. Chit-chat gets you more rapport, more friendships, more niceness, but it doesn't get you sales. So you have to orchestrate the difference between a sales conversation and chit-chat. Make sense? Cool, some big ideas? Cool. I will finish up. Anyone who wants anything more to engage with me, a couple of things. So I've got boxes of books in our office that we love to send out to people. If you haven't read either 24 Assets or Oversubscribed or Key Person, give me your card and we'll send you a copy of the book in the mail. Also, we run things called strategy sessions. They're our sales environment. If you want to see how we do a sales environment, how we do our sales presentation, you can come along to one of those. It's a 2-hour presentation. We deliver lots and lots of value in that 2 hours, and we do the whole asking for the business thing and how we do that. So if you want to get an experience as to how we do that, come along to one of those as well. But yeah, feel free to pass me your business card and let me know where to go from here. Thank you very much.